Well, I assume there should be some sort of introduction to this. Hello, I'm Nictamine, the Hecaton Caries. I have many arms and as many hands. I have a hand in a lot of things. But this is my first video that I aim to do. And it's a little weird for me to speak to just nobody, so excuse the nervousness. I have a lot to complain about on just day-to-day basis, and I figured that maybe if I complain about it somewhere public, I might get some response and maybe some discourse can be had about the things that I want to complain about. And the first thing that I want to complain about, and my complaints will mostly revolve around TTRPGs and D&D specifically. My first thing to complain about is the Gnoll, as you can probably see from the title of the video. The Gnoll is an interesting creature. It's a sort of a hyena, biped, scavenger type enemy. And if you look into it, the origin of the Gnoll, just to stretch the video a little bit, it's actually fascinating. You would think that the Gnoll came from some sort of African legend or, some kind of were hyena, and there are were hyenas in D&D as far as I know. But the Gnoll specifically originated from a series of short stories. They were made by Edward John Morton Drax Plunkett, the 18th Baron of Dunsany, or simply Lord Dunsany. They came from the Book of Wonders, and I'm gonna put a picture on the screen here because he wrote that book around illustrations made by Sidney Syme, who was his friend at the time. He had him illustrate these pictures and then wrote stories around them that he thought would fit the theme of the picture. You can see that the Gnolls, or Gnolls with an E in the middle there, as he spelled it, don't look particularly hyenish. But apparently Gygax just nabbed that concept and gave it a different form, which is an interesting thing that he did. I don't see where he got that from. Maybe he addressed it somewhere, but I'm not aware that he would. And what is interesting about the Gnoll is that because it didn't originate in any sort of African type mythology as you would expect it to have, it didn't really carry on any of that mythology with it. They simply looked at a hyena on the surface level and gave it a bunch of hit points, made it a chaotic evil character because that's what they fucking did in the first edition, I suppose, and just sent it out there and, play against it. It lives on plains and warm climates and it forms warm bands, just your standard D&D enemy. And this is such a wasted opportunity here, because there's so much stuff they could have done. And the African religions are full of hyena men and were hyenas and hyena whatever that you could have drawn for, but they just didn't. And over the course of all the different editions of D&D, they never really did do that. They added a bunch of stuff to them, but nothing that would resemble anything African, even though a hyena is endemic to the savannah. What this suggests to me is that either they don't want to do anything like that, or that they fear that maybe changing the Gnoll in such a way would impact the fan base, or that they just don't fucking care. And what is even worse than that is why don't the Gnolls have a laughing mechanic? Like seriously, why don't they have it? The hyenas are famous for their laugh. That's like the signature thing that they do. And they don't do that. Well, they might do it in D&D, but there's nothing to it. There's not a mechanic behind it. This is ridiculous. Why wouldn't you do something with that? I'm gonna have to make a video on world building because I have things to say about that too, but this is one of the things that you should explore when you're making races or creatures like that. You should see what they're similar to in the real world and build on that. You shouldn't just discard this shit. So, yeah, that is my complaint about the Gnolls. Like, do something with them. There's probably gonna be 6th edition relatively around the corner in terms of TTRPGs, which, you know, like 3-4 years. Fucking do something about the Gnoll, Jesus. What do you want? You're getting paid for this.